welcome back as always. We're back again.
She'd wave, but she can't.
So we have Sting with us today. Oh my God. We're going to be watching part 2 of Two Towers.
Oh, wow.
Yay.
Not Sting from the police. Shucks.
So isn't that awesome?
Oh,
so we won't. So we won't keep this during the reaction because I don't have. Well, I do have
Someone
a wall mount
will
for it, but
wind up going to the ER.
That's right.
Heck of an explanation.
So, do you know where this sword came from? Not from me, but do you know who had this sword? This was Frodo's sword.
Oh, Frodo.
Yeah, and Bilbo Baggins, his uncle, gave it to him. And we did not, as you know, we didn't see The Hobbit yet. We're watching these in order as when they were released into theaters. But this was introduced in Hobbit. I mean, it's been introduced technically in this one first, but Bilbo Baggins had this sword first. Mm-hmm. So we'll learn more about that in The Hobbit. But I thought it was cool. I actually bought this at Otakon, a anime convention that I went to a while ago. And even though it's an anime convention, which they're all awesome, Otakon became so huge that it was pretty much all kind of genres. Like you had all kinds of fantasy, like realistic fantasy, superheroes, American superheroes, stuff like that. And I just absolutely love that convention. They moved to Washington. They were in Baltimore for a while, and we live in Connecticut. So it was kind of a drive, but not too bad. But now in Washington, it's just different. But anyways, just a quick little ramble. But yay, that's where I got this from. So it has a lot of good memories for me. I'm being careful. Trust me, I know. I'm careful. I'm careful with swords. We're going to be watching The Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Part 2 today. And I did give them a heads up that there's probably going to be a lot of action in this movie. Again, I've seen it, but they have not. They're newbies. The whole Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I know. So I started like, we're not having that in this. Somebody can like get behind us or something. God, something bad's going to happen. But we left off last time with Frodo and Sam being attacked or ambushed by these people with cloaks, hoodies, you know. So we don't know who they are yet. We saw an elephant way at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Big.
That was big.
Another thing you all wanted me to also talk about, which I did briefly do before we actually started recording, and they already know about it, which is good. But with Gondor and Rohan, how they're different places, and Rohan is more like a grassland kingdom, and then Gondor is a huge kingdom. In my eyes, it's kind of like King's Landing on Game of Thrones.
And we haven't seen that part yet.
When Gandalf was on Shadowfax at one point, when he was running off in the beginning of the first film, you see him traveling, and I think he did pass Gondor at that point. But no, we haven't seen Gondor yet.
And Aragorn is the...
Aragorn is the rightful heir to Gondor, which is like the King's Landing. It's like a really big kingdom.
And he doesn't think he's worthy of it.
No.
And they also have, which I was kind of quizzing you guys, but I'll just tell you right now, but they also have the white tree emblem. The guys that jumped Sam and Frodo, they also have that tree. That's what I was trying to hint at before, yeah.
Okay.
And then Rohan has the white horse. And they know who King Theoden is, and they know he's from Rohan, and he is the king of Rohan. And right now they're trying to get him to help fight the good cause of defeating Saruman. Mm-hmm. King Theoden does not want to put his people into war, and that's why they're going into hiding and everything. He's like, well, I don't want more death for my people. But they're like, well, if this shadow takes over, which is, when they say shadow, they mean the evil. He said when that takes over, everyone's going to be affected, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's going to be done. It's kind of like the White Walkers,
Yeah,
Game of Thrones.
yeah.
So that's where they got the heavy influence from, where Game of Thrones got that from, you know.
Yeah.
So shall we get into this movie?
We shall.
Right above.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, what's that?
Ew, what is that?
Whoa.
Ew.
Whoa.
Ew.
Oh, my God. Ugly.
Oh,
Oh, God. Ooh. Good job.
Come on, Diddy. Wow.
Wow, that's neat. Whoa.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no, not gently.
Oh, not that cute.
Oh.
Bring your pretty face to my eye.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
No one counts as mine.
Oh, no.
No.
Creature
Go.
Oh no!
Oh, good.
Now he's really done for.
Before he comes. Whoa.
Watch out! Oh! No!
Oh, man.
No!
Classic, isn't it?
Holy cow! He's gonna go off the cliff! He's gonna go off the cliff!
Oh, they did. Oh, my gosh.
Get on! I took a little tumble off the cliff.
Oh, this is just great.
Leave the dead. Come.
We're safe, my lady. Thank you.
Leave none alive! To war!
I hope.
May the grace of the Valar protect you.
Oh, look at him. Oh, that's so. Wow.
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 He's alive!
Where is he? Where is he? I'm gonna kill him!
Oh, my.
The luckiest, reckless man I ever knew.
Oh, look at
Bless
that.
you, laddie.
Where's the king?
We had time I'd get this adjusted.
Little one.
It's a little tight across the chest.
Oh, girdle.
Right. Huh.
That is no Orc.
Ah, yes, it could have been. Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
Oh, is this possible? I bring word from Elrond of Rivendell. An alliance once existed between elves and men.
oh.
Oh no, I hear them marching.
You could have picked a better spot.
He should be right there.
So cute.
That's his pep talk.
What's happening out there?
Shall I describe it to you? Or would you like me to find you a box?
A box.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
So it begins.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Oh my god, look at them. Holy crap.
Oh, God.
Already!
I'm on 17!
Ah! There's no pointy arrow scoring me!
Make that 3. Oh my god, they're coming up the ramp.
Wow.
Hey, enough of that!
Yeah, nice. Sideways.
Okay.
Is this it?
Oh my god, this is horrible.
Oh, my
And
God.
they're gonna blast it out. Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him!
Still got it.
No, get him! Damn it! Oh no!
Oh. Oh, what
He's pushing him off.
Cool, I love that guy. Come on, get up. Oh my God, don't kill him. Please don't kill him. Oh, shit. No. No, watch out.
Oh.
Oh, no. No. No.
Don't tell the elf.
Oh my God.
Oh, bye-bye.
The noise.
Last match of the Ents.
Wow.
No way.
Oh my God, I really had to get out of there.
Yes. Oh my God.
Hey, look to the east. Oh my God. Finally, big army. Wow. Hey, trees.
Whoa, boulders now. Good. Whoa, kickball.
Nice.
Whoa, wow.
Oh no, they're starting on fire.
Oh
Release the river.
Nice. That's tight.
Let all of it.
It's on fire. Cool it down. Wow. He's gonna see you. No.
no. Oh, boy.
Oh no. Don't stick your tongue out and show it to him. No, 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 no. Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Whoa.
Nice. No. Don't get right in it.
Oh
No.
my God.
No. Oh no. Oh yeah, sure. Go in there. Hopefully.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Oh jeez.
Hey, Peter Jackson. Wow.
See what's next. Jeez.
The music, again, so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
It brings out everything. Just
Okay.
so many great qualities with this movie, but just the music really ties everything together. And
yeah.
depending on sad, happy,
Yeah.
scary moments, it's so good.
They've got a long way to go. And who's this she?
Yeah, I was wondering, she.
Who is this
dark,
she?
this dark thing that they're going to?
Yeah, Faramir was
Yeah.
saying there's a dark demon in that past.
So
right?
maybe that's the
a
she.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably is.
Rewatching this with you, it's your first time seeing this, and rewatching this a second time, it's so good, and how you see Gollum, you pity him. Like, I pity him,
Yeah.
and I think you guys do too.
Mhm.
And he has a side where he was originally Smeagol,
Right.
and when he becomes Smeagol, he wants to be good and he wants to help them out. And it was even more interesting in this part seeing the split personality of Gollum coming out, and how, you know, when he was
convincing him.
and when both sides of Gollum felt betrayed by Master, by Frodo, when Faramir and his group brought him in and started beating on him because they didn't trust him to begin with. Gollum's evil personality, or obsessed with the ring personality, started to like console him and be like, it's okay, you can't trust them, that's why you need me. And it was so cool kind of seeing that, like how the hand would come out and just like kind of calm him and try to make him feel better. And so what do you think of Gollum?
Well, now he's agreeing. He made Spiegel agree with him.
That's right.
And they're going to have
both sides
especially try to get Sam first, it seems like, and then
and it was nice, and I think that was part of the extended, because I didn't see that part before, when Sam was actually talking to Gollum in the tunnel, and he was actually cordial to him, and he's like, listen, no hard feelings, and sorry that happened, we didn't know that was going to happen to you, and he's like, you handled that really well. And I thought that was like, whoa, okay, well, that was kind of cool.
Maybe that will save in the long run if it's like splits, like if they're right just before trying to kill them, maybe.
Hopefully.
Spiegel.
I thought that was a good scene. I don't think that was from the original theatrical, because I don't remember seeing that part with Sam and Gollum, but maybe we'll see. But I love the second part. The first part was good, but this is where all the action was, and the battle at Helm's Deep, holy crap. Because the first time I saw it, I was freaking out, and I was like, ah! So this time I was really paying attention to it, and so many good scenes, and they also do a good job at mixing the humor with the action, and I love Gimli in this, and Legolas, and Aragorn.
He was phenomenal. Legolas was phenomenal.
Isn't he awesome?
Very good,
And it was so cool seeing all the elves in action, because I love how they show so many lined up about to shoot their arrows, and so many are so far behind, like Aragorn, like that perspective. We're watching Aragorn, and he was like, fire, and you see them all shoot their arrows, like, and he had no problem just like, fire, and like all these arrows are just breezing by him. They're so precise with how they shoot that. It's just so amazing. And I love seeing the different races fighting with each other. And against each other, but it was neat seeing their traits and what they were good at, and how they all had a common goal, and they were all equals on the field, you know.
And it was actually perfect the way it came about, you know. They all came at different times, and, you know, even the trees at the end
the trees
conquered.
I thought, see, the Ents are so cool, and I love how they were made, like how they were designed. This whole universe is so fantasy based, of course, but it's so believable in how everything's put together. And just, again, the computer graphics, I know I'm saying old terms here, but, you know, just everything about it, like the costumes and the detailing on the trees, they were so real. And even though I would giggle sometimes with their face and stuff, because they were so cartoony in a way, they were still so realistic. The eyes and the big noses. But you believe it. They're slow and heavy and strong, and it was neat seeing them go into Isengard, and wow, like I started giggling again when they started beating up the orcs, because they're just like stepping on them, but then you could see that, holy crap, they can get hurt too, getting hacked up by axes. And
but
kicked
good
over.
for Pip for saying, let's go south. Because that was really, he was really trying to get that in, to really see the devastation. And I think that really moved him to...
I agree. Good job. And Merry and Pippin, I do love them together. In this movie, I really started to grow for them, where I really started to love them as characters.
He was getting pissed off.
And he's very passionate. I love Merry. He's so awesome. And Pippin is really starting to prove himself. And they were rewarded at the end with their feast and their weed. So that's amazing.
He even got a turkey.
I know, I thought that was awesome for some reason. I was like, oh my god. Because I think I saw part of that somehow in the extended. Again, I didn't really watch the extended until now, but I might have saw something on YouTube with that, because I remember that part with the turkey floating. And I was like, why is there a turkey floating there? I was like, oh, that's perfect for them. I love that. I'm like, sweet. After being in a huge battle and starving and eating nuts and berries, I'm sure, in the forest for a long time, I'm like, give me some turkey.
They're
fresh apples.
They always have food on their mind.
That's right.
I'm totally a hobbit. I would totally be a hobbit in that realm. I would want to be an elf, I think, but Yeah, I'd be a hobbit.
Food-wise, you want to be a
I'd
hobbit.
be a hobbit. I like the simple life, being with family.
Yeah.
Food is good. Ale is good. I'm good with that. So fancy's good, but I'm just not a fancy person, you know.
Yeah.
So
Right.
pointy ears are pretty cool, but
Yeah.
hobbits have kind of pointy ears too. So
That's right.
I thought it was so cool. Where, if you remember from the first part, the same movie, but the beginning of the movie, how when Gandalf was telling Aragorn on the 5th day, look to the east, it really worked out well.
Yeah,
Gandalf
good.
went around, he recruited all these people from, followers of Rohan, of Theoden, and it was Eowyn's brother who was leading the charge, with Gandalf. And
great.
yeah, it was a really cool
That was
scene.
fantastic. That was a nice big army.
Yeah.
It was.
And how they set each scene is so beautifully done, and the whole thing with them coming over the horizon like that, and you have Gandalf with the halo or just a glow of light around him, and you just feel like the good and the pureness of that moment of good taking over evil kind of thing, or triumphing over evil, or going to triumph over evil. And when they're going down that big hill with thousands of people, it just you can see the grand scale and you can feel it, and it still looks beautiful even though it's a really violent scene. Just how they
It just looks like good is gonna conquer.
That's right.
yeah, and it just looks so beautiful. Like you get so pulled into it, and I love it. I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
Excuse me, all the movies are great, but I think third one's awesome too. The second one though, I think is probably my favorite. Like this whole thing is just it was just so well done and put together, and
And now I'm really worried that you had all this 10,000, orcs going after all these good, the men folk, and now you have to worry about this one character like ruining it all.
Oh, you mean Frodo?
Yeah, killing Frodo trying to do that for one creature.
I know, and that shows you
It's gonna
something
still ruin it all.
so huge, that's so scary, and thousands of people going to war, and you have one little person,
That's right.
innocent little person that has this
Now we have to worry about-
heavy responsibility
That's right.
to save the whole world. No
right.
pressure.
And you have
Now
this one
nobody-
creature that may still ruin it all.
That's
Yeah,
In Gollum.
and it shows
right.
you how a lot of characters, or most characters in this, all have a part to play. Sam is Frodo's support system, and like Gollum is a good tour guide, and hopefully he leads him in the right direction. But that's why they decided, besides Frodo pitying him, that they needed a tour guide. I shouldn't say tour guide, it's not really a tour, but they needed a guide. I'll take her out tour. Sorry, I just randomly came out. But Frodo needed a guide to actually take him to Mordor, because they kept going in circles and didn't know where to go. And Frodo has this burden where he's getting taken over by the ring, and you can just feel and see the dread that he's feeling, and it's torturing him, because he
And
constantly...
Sam knows that. Sam keeps reminding him.
Yes, he does.
Sam is trying to keep him in the light and be like, are you okay? And trying to talk to him and get him through it, but...
Yeah, even when he has a knife up his neck.
No.
Oh, his neck, I was
Oh,
like,
Sort of.
Or Sam.
yeah. What do you think of Sam and Frodo's relationship? I really do like the relationship in this.
And it's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, they have a really good
mean-
friendship, and at one point I thought it was maybe a little more, which is fine too. But hobbits are very loving, very good-natured people,
Yeah.
where they are all about family.
Yes.
So
And Sam's always watching out for Frodo. So,
yeah, and I think a lot of us are
Innocent
lucky.
love, yes.
That's right.
But with technology nowadays, I miss things like this. Like, you don't see a lot of like true relationships, like family relationships like that anymore. And watching this just goes, aw, because it does remind me of our family and stuff. And it stinks. You don't want to lose that. So
for sure.
seeing that relationship and care for one another is awesome. Yeah, we'd be
Thick and
hobbits.
thin.
Yeah, through thick and thin, and you need a good support system, So Faramir, what do you think of him? Boromir's brother.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was actually going to go with them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to continue, because if he goes back to Dad,
Yeah.
Dad
he's
is
still going to,
His dad
disgrace
is so
him.
mean to him.
Yeah,
He's
it's
really
really
mean.
sad. It was so sad.
I was kind of hoping too when I first saw this that Faramir would go with and be like the Fellowship of the Ring, like
Right.
to help him out
Take
again.
my brother's place.
Yeah, but such a
Right.
huge burden needs small people, I guess, because they can get into places that no one can detect, or they're harder to see, and they can be quieter. But yeah, he decided to stay with his people, Faramir, and did not go. But I was kind of hoping he would too. My heart really goes to Faramir because he is really a good person, and he did something his brother couldn't. Boromir was awesome in the first movie, and he really showed honor at the end, and he fought to the bitter end trying to defend the hobbits and make sure they didn't get kidnapped, and they still got kidnapped, but he really did defend them for as long as he could. He died a horrible death, but he couldn't handle the ring. Like, it took him over, and he almost injured or killed Frodo.
And he even defended his brother. He tried so hard.
He did.
To
Like, Boromir was a
make his
really good
father
person.
understand that, he can...
Yeah, see, so they had a really good relationship too, and it's amazing, like, when you see people in action and you don't really know their history, it's like you can judge them right away, but once you actually see their back history and you're like, holy crap, like, they've been through so much, and Boromir really was a good guy, and again, we know he was good, and especially after he passed, but how, he really was a true good-hearted guy, and he loved his family, he loved his brother, and he dealt with his dad being the king and all that, or the lord. But that whole situation's sad. But Faramir was able to let Frodo go, and that's saying a lot. Yeah. And even Sam said, "We know your character now. Like, we you're doing the right thing." And he did a major thing to let them go. But whew.
Yeah, that's good that his dad didn't get a hold of that, because they woast have been toast anyway.
Sure. So, what do you guys think about Aragorn and Éowyn? I really like Éowyn. I really wish...
Yes, I do too.
I wish she fought.
Yeah, you said that briefly before, and that would have helped a lot because, again, I can't imagine being in that kind of situation where you hardly have enough men, to say it lightly, when 10,000 orcs coming your way with a big army. And you're bringing all these kids in that don't know, farmers, stuff like that. But the little kids who can't even, like, lift a weapon correctly or fight, it's almost like there's, like, I know you need to defend your kingdom, you need to defend your home, but you have these kids that can't even swing an axe or whatever. Like, they're just going to be a dead weight out there, and they're going to get mowed down, and it stinks. So we were saying that briefly, because we take a break, like, every 20 minutes or so, just very briefly, in between, just because the camera only stays on for about 25 minutes or so. So we briefly have conversations about certain things just to make sure we're all on the same page, that we know what's going on. And we were saying that it would have been better just to have Éowyn out there because she's confident. We saw her swinging her blade before, and she was skilled. She knew what she was doing. So instead of, bringing out so many kids, like, leave the kids alone, just throw her in. Not comparing that she's as good as a kid or whatever. I'm just saying, like, she's really skilled and would do way better.
She wanted to go out.
And she wanted to go out. She's brave, and poor kids just don't have experience. I just can't imagine doing that. But they're going to die either way if they're in Helm's Deep hiding and all the men are gone and then the orcs take over.
For everyone, all the people, they knew their destiny. They knew.
The thing is, though, I know it must be a long trek, but if the kids and women are hiding in that little spot and there is really no hope, and they want to keep hope, I get it, but I would have set them into the tunnels long before with food, provisions, all kinds of stuff, and walked right through that tunnel and, just give them a good head start so that way they'll have a plan instead of like, we're going to have to win or we're screwed. Because then at the last second, when they were talking about when Theoden was like, when he's like, they're not going to make it because there's just too many orcs. So I'm like, well, if they have a huge head start, they might.
That's right. Think ahead.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's asking a lot of them, but it's better. It's either that or dying.
They went all that way. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. If they did that early on and had a meetup point, maybe if like the next day in the forest or something, although the forest came alive and killed everyone after it, the orcs. But hopefully they would differentiate from that and know.
Right, like they did with the hobbits.
Yeah, but I can't imagine, like, never been in war like that. Well, never been in war at all. I can't even imagine. No. I gotta say, going back to the whole fight scene with the trio that we love so much with Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, and their banter, and I love how, the whole box thing. Do you want me to describe it to you, or would you like a box? Like, that was funny. How Gimli laughed instead of getting insulted. That was funny with him and Legolas.
Oh, when he's putting on his steel robe or whatever.
Oh no, it's so small. It was like tight and long. It was so funny. And one of my favorite scenes is when Aragorn, it's so traumatizing too, but the scene where Aragorn and Gimli go around the gate on the other side and the hidden door, and they're on the rocks, and they're going to jump over into the main ramp going up to the gate there, and Aragorn says to Gimli, well, Gimli asks Aragorn, you didn't throw me, but don't tell the elf. Yeah. And it was such a traumatizing scene because everyone's getting butchered inside, and they're going to take over and break through the door. And but it was so funny when he got thrown, and it was such a cool action scene, seeing all the orcs flying down. And
but even when they got on their horses, him and the king, and they go down, and you just see them going down this ramp, and all you see are the sea of orcs. Like,
I think that's awesome. That was so good.
Departing of the orcs.
See, something so impossible, and yet when you have braves, just have a group of people. And the horses are huge and heavy, and when they have like the momentum of just pushing through like that, it's pretty epic. So that was very courageous and a very cool scene. Yeah. And also going back to a time before that where all the orcs are with their shields above them going up that ramp. Yeah, you can see the ripple of something in the middle, so you're following that and you know something's going on, and you see all the orcs just flying off because other orcs are holding on to that huge log to ram the door. They don't care about their people. Not even if you call them their people, I guess, but they don't care about each other.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. So it shows like how much hate and raw violence.
Just for the cause.
Just for the cause, yeah. They don't care about anything else. And it was interesting seeing that as well.
Right, they're almost like robots.
Yeah. And I don't remember his name, and I do apologize, but the elf leader that came that was so sad. I hated that scene, and I apologize. I didn't read the books, but I do love these movies, and I don't do any research just because that's kind of what our channel is about anyways. Like, we just kind of go into things that are new, and again, I've seen this once, but I just don't make the time to
everybody.
Yeah. But I do love this, don't get me wrong. We're so busy, and every spare moment I have, we're either doing this or I'm editing, that I don't always thoroughly check people's names and stuff. But I do love that character so much, and I cried the first time I saw this when he died. Because don't forget, elves joining with men, elves are immortal, and they only die by the hand of a sword by, like, not natural causes, but by anything that can kill a man besides old age. They went against that, being brave and wanting to support men, and they're all equals again.
And he said that right off the bat.
He did, and he was proud.
Yeah.
They were all like happy, they were proud, and I thought that was really cool. He's like, we stood with men before, we fought with men before, and it'll be like this again. And I thought that was really cool on how they could show that.
And he was true to his word, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
that's sad.
One other thing too, when Aragorn, when you thought he died when he fell off the cliff, you guys understand that when that horse came over, I believe that Arwen actually sent that horse through like spirit, like magic.
So too. And he let the horse go too. He calmed that horse previously.
So there's always like a connection going on with certain relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the even star. So what do you think about their relationship? Because I know Aragorn kind of broke up with her in a way, because going with what her father said to him, you have to let her go. She has to be with her people. There's nothing for her here. Shadow's going to take over.
I think she's accepting it, and it goes to show you after he fell off the cliff that she's accepted it and wants him to go on for the cause.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just such a beautiful relationship, just because, like, even, again, the music, and every time they show them, even though they're in, like, a dream state when they're talking to each other, everyththing's very hazed and, like, a heavenly feeling. You feel, like, the pureness of it, and that's where Aragorn got a lot of his strength from, so I thought that was pretty cool, too. Eowyn I really love as a character, too, and she is really infatuated with Aragorn.
Oh, yeah, she loves him.
Yeah, and Aragorn's such a gentleman. That it hasn't come up yet, but what's going to happen there?
And he's a hot 87-year-old man.
Yeah, I know, isn't he? He's so good.
That's so good.
I love how you refer to Dad as one of the Ents. And he's like, that's like Dad. He's like talking to falls asleep. He doesn't do that, but yeah, he is. He's a lot older now. Time isn't a problem. And he just takes his time and explains stories. He's totally Treebeard. He is. He's Treebeard. That's what he is. We love you, Dad. You're awesome. He has wisdom, a lot of stories. He reads all the time.
A whole afternoon
for one story. Yeah. Wow. Huh?
He's great.
Yeah, we have a large family, as most of you know, and we have a huge age range. Even our nieces and nephews.
Having children for a long time.
Yeah, so it's really crazy. It's awesome.
Over 20-year period.
Yeah, 20-year gap. Isn't that crazy?
She's my youngest.
Yay!
Baby of the family.
No,
You guys are young too.
No,
No, you're
not.
not. No.
Almost, but no.
No.
You're not quite there.
We're all young here. We're all young on this couch. It's so fun having different generations. So it's kind of neat having a mix. You know what I mean?
Even
Like,
these shows, like,
yeah,
you know.
That's right.
yeah, because there's certain actors and
Even
stuff.
Sam, I knew from Goonies.
Yeah, and I've maybe seen parts of Goonies. I think we even have the DVD somewhere that I never really watched.
Totally
But I know him from Lord of the Rings. Honestly, I know him from Lord of the Rings. So I was like, when I saw him in Stranger Things, I'm like,
Right.
oh, Sam
Oh my
Where's
God.
Goonies.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the generation.
Yeah, and you guys don't watch TV at all, really. So,
No,
I mean, I know you've seen the
news and
Goonies,
stuff.
but you guys really don't watch anything. Like some
Yeah.
movies here and there, but you really, when it comes down to it, not really much at all. It's just amazing and how,
Like even Liv Tyler.
different
I was
perspectives.
like, oh, that's Steve's daughter. Steve Tyler's daughter.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
It's really interesting because I know a few people on our channel, which I totally get, that with social media and stuff, a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just know this person and so-and-so is so famous for this. I'm like, it doesn't always work that way because a lot of us do know all of that, but there are many of us as well that don't watch every single thing that comes out or watch so many
and we
things.
don't live under a rock. It's just that we're just
We just do a lot of different things, and not saying that no one else does, but we go out a lot, we're outside a lot, we're helping people, like, you know what I mean? Like we're not constantly keeping up with movies and stuff. Yeah, so this is definitely a lot of fun to do, and then talk about it. Then we get to learn a lot more, and with all of your help, leaving fun comments and being respectful about it, thank you for that.
Yes.
We learn a lot more about the story.
Yeah.
And I think that is so freaking cool.
Good.
And I definitely want to read the Harry Potter books now. I read the first one, but I definitely want to go back and like get all those extra details in. And I also want to do that with Lord of the Rings at some point. But life is just so busy right now. I just need to make the time for it. Audiobooks might be a good thing if when I'm working out or something. Rambling, but yay, so many possibilities. Stop talking, Dawn. That was a long
She's a
ramble.
rambler.
I am a rambler. I love to do that. But anyways, I love you guys. You guys are always so good. And we always have so much fun together. So my favorite character is Legolas. I've always had a soft spot for Legolas. I love Legolas.
Yes,
Again, so many great characters in this, but I used to have a crush on him when I watched this the first time. Like, I loved him. And so
it really came about this part here.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, especially when he's so skilled, and then he does something epic where he jumped on that.
Oh, when he jumped on that
shield
horse
thing. Oh yeah, the horse. Oh, the horse thing was cool.
Like
Like backwards almost, like defied gravity.
Like a
and super
cartwheel.
strong. Yeah,
cartwheel in the air.
That scene was so cool. The wargs are creepy freaking creatures too. They look like, I don't want to say like they kind of remind me of hyenas, but hyenas, I will say, are definitely cute compared to those.
Oh, God,
and their facial structure is completely different, but just like the longer muscular necks and the lower like hind legs.
Hind legs, that's what I was thinking,
and the broader chest and stuff, like the strong chest remind me of a hyena. I'm totally doing this. I mean strong chest.
My name is Harry.
They don't have big boobs, but but yeah,
but
and
their faces with
the beady little creepy lower eyes, like gross.
I have nightmares tonight.
That's the thing with the evil side. It's like dentistry is a big problem, and
With
really
the works,
creepy
oh my
eyes.
God.
Yeah, just kidding, but yeah, it's like really gross. And the detailing in this again, it is just so real because it sounds silly, but I was even looking at like some of the men's hands and even women, like some of them had like dirty nails, but it's true. But I love those details.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is almost, or maybe it is Hobbit size. So in my scale, I could be like a hobbit.
It's pretty huge.
So that's kind of scary. This is what Frodo used against Sam when he kind of lost control of who he was, and
That's right.
forgot who he was.
Put
I
the
love
ring
this
back
sword
on.
so much. I have a mount for it upstairs, but we were actually updating one of the rooms upstairs. I have a tiny house, and I love my house. It used to be my cosplay room where I used to make a lot of costumes and props, and we are redoing that room to make our new reaction room. Yay! So we can bring all this upstairs where we love people, but then we won't be so interrupted because I love friends and family, but we always have a lot of people that come over. And thanks to all of you, and because of Patreon as well, we were able to move upstairs. Woohoo! So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm careful. Yeah, I'm very aware when it comes to stuff like this. And even at my job, I'm in the medical field, and I have to be very good with sharp instruments. Yeah. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you very soon as always. Bye!